All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Those Guys Podcast, not your average sports podcast. Troy, how's it going? Wait, hold on, Troy. Are you growing out a mustache?
Chris, man, I'm trying to look like you.
Nah, man, I'm the one that can rock the mustache. I don't know
Man,
what you're doing, man.
participating in No Shade November, man. So we'll see how long
Man,
I can stand this.
I don't know if you're a door-to-door pastor or if you're trying to be like a snake oil salesman or if you think
Yeah.
this is the 80s, man,
Well,
or
I looked
what.
like a Q-tip the other day, man. Before I even got a haircut, I had a big old puffball up here, so wasn't a good look.
I don't know, Troy. I don't know. The mustache just makes you look kind of shady.
Man, it's growing on me a little bit. So
Look
I'm
like
we'll
Paul
see.
Blart Mall Cop, man. Hey, Troy, you know who you look like? Who's, oh, was it Reno 911?
I didn't want
Who's
to
that
go
one
along
character from Reno 911 that has the stupid
with,
mustache?
with the short booty shorts.
Yeah, Troy, that's all you need. Next time
Yeah.
you go back into the office, man, wear those short booty shorts, man, and you'll fit in perfectly.
It's too cold up here in Oklahoma. I know Reno's a little higher elevation, but cold for me, man. No, thank you.
Crazy, man. But all right, Troy, what are your takeaways from last Sunday or last Saturday's games?
Man, well, I guess kind of looking back at last week, I mean, obviously Mac Nation kicked off, right? It wasn't a huge so far. I haven't been sold on the whole Mac Nation thing. I enjoy weekday college football games, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed watching the Conference USA games a little bit more. I don't know if it's just because I'm more invested in Conference USA, just because being an Aggie fan, paying attention to what's going on with the conference. But I don't know. I feel like it's just been more, but I feel like the football has been a little bit more interesting, a little bit more competitive. And they've been going back and forth because before last week, Conference USA, I mean, everyone was beating each other, right? You got a couple new teams in the conference that have made that FBS jump. Missouri State became bowl eligible last week. Delaware upset a lot of Tech. So, I mean, you see a lot of fun stuff happening in that conference. I don't know. It's a little bit easier for me to watch. I get a little bit more excited to watch it. I tried to watch the Akron UMass game last week. I was hoping that UMass would get a win. I hate seeing teams be winless throughout their season, but they fell short. So they lost to Akron 44-10. And man, they weren't playing some good ball. And you could tell that they are definitely the worst team in the nation right now. So hopefully they get that picked up and hopefully they get that adjusted.
Exactly.
Overall, so far I my picks were pretty good for the most part last week. I was pretty confident with them. I knew Tulane was going to upset Memphis. I was expecting that, and I knew it was going to be a hard fought game. But Memphis can't close out a season for whatever reason, right? So that's happened to them the last few years. Tulane came out ready to play, man. They avenged their loss against UTSA the week before. They came out and won 38 to I think what was it, 38-32, I believe. Also LSU Bama. I mean, it's kind of what I expected, right? I knew Bama was going to win. I feel like Bama didn't really show too much, whether it's because they're preparing for OU, whatever the case may be. But LSU's offense, man, looked terrible. Um, it just wasn't a good showing. They even pulled Nussmeyer and put in Van Buren, and he's been he gave LSU a little bit of a chance at the end, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. They still got a couple more games on their schedule that I'm interested in. Obviously, they have Arkansas this upcoming week, and then they have Western Kentucky and OU. So they have an opportunity to kind of, I guess, close out their season on a positive note, make a good bowl game, and see what happens. Yeah. What about you, Chris? Before I jump to the NMSU Kennesaw State game, I want to hear your insight on it.
In terms of my picks, Troy, most of them I picked the correct team. However, the the differential, I was totally off with a few games. Texas Tech BYU to start. I thought it was going to be a shootout and a closer game. I did not know Texas Tech was going to steamroll BYU. That was surprising to me. Tech looks good, man. I don't know if they're going to make a run in the college football playoffs, but they look really, really good. Um, Georgia, I mean, there was a good chance they were going to blow out Mississippi State. I did think Mississippi State was going to put um more of a fight forward, but hey, it is what it is. Of course, Texas A&M, they're playing great football right now. They're rolling. So I wasn't surprised by the score of how they beat Missouri. Of course, Alabama, I mean, they didn't show a lot. It was lower scoring, but still, they beat LSU. They're continuing to roll.
Chris, I got to interrupt you here.
Yes.
The BYU Texas Tech game,
What are your
I will
thoughts?
say I was somewhat expecting that. And the
You
reason
were
why I say
expecting that?
a little bit, because, man, I haven't been impressed with BYU. BYU is a good team. I'm not going to deny that one bit. Um, I don't think that they're a college playoff team. And I think right now, even I think they're ranked ninth or 10th or something like that. I don't think they should be ranked that high. And man, I feel like Texas Tech controlled that game from the first quarter on. I feel like BYU just could not get anything going early on, and I mean, obviously it was a competitive first half, but I felt like Texas Tech was in control the entire time, and man, I wasn't surprised to see the actual outcome on it. Now, I still think BYU could probably win out the rest of their season, but they're also one of those teams that they're expected to do well in their season, and they just come up short for whatever reason. But but yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, they still got Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been playing pretty tough, and TCU, that's a rivalry game between them. So, man, we'll see what happens. But I kind of saw that BYU game go in that direction. I
Okay.
don't think that they should be a playoff team, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Two surprising games for me, Troy, was the Cal Louisville game. I did not expect Cal to beat Louisville.
No.
Yeah, Cal looked good. Their quarterback was balling. Their receiver, I think it's DeJesus. He was
Yeah.
putting on a clinic, man. He had like over 150 yards receiving. So I was not expecting Cal to beat them. That was really awesome to see. As well as Troy, the game of the week, Penn State, Indiana.
Yeah.
Man,
You
Penn
texted
State,
me the game. I had to flip it on.
yes. I hope all of our viewers watch that game. Oh my goodness. The way Penn State was playing near the end and the pass rush was getting to, is it Fernandez, right? Yeah, how the pass rush was getting to Fernandez, and it looked like Penn State was going to win that game. And I tell you what, Troy, Fernandez, he's a tough quarterback. The way he was hanging in there on that final drive, and just time after time, he was hitting his target. And then finally, that touchdown throw with pressure in his face, where he threw it up to his receiver and the receiver tiptoed or caught that incredible catch and barely kept his foot in. That was probably one of the best catches I've seen and one of the
Yeah.
best pressure throws I've seen. They've proven to me, Troy, they have a lot of grit on that team, on that Indiana team, and I'm excited. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I want to see Indiana go as far as possible. I mean, again, the resilience, the grit to win the game, that was impressive.
Yeah. And I think you mean Mendoza, but his first name's Fernando.
Oh, was I calling him Fernandez? My bad.
Fernandez.
Fernando Mendoza, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. At first, they didn't register with me, but it's because his first name is Fernando.
Fernando Mendoza. Okay.
Yeah. So, but man, yeah, he's legit. So I know that they've talked about him being a Heisman candidate, and he's played some good football. I mean, kind of like you said, Chris, to kind of add on to what you were saying, um, you would expect that a lot of teams like crap the bed, right? When they have to start off in their own one or two, and they have to drive down the field with like a minute and a half left, right? But man, Indiana was able to do it in such a perfect way that they executed everything that they needed to execute at the
Yes.
right. And I think that's we've been seeing a lot of lack of execution on the offense side of the ball from teams nationwide. So it was really cool to see them pull that through. I was a little worried about it because Indiana is one of those teams that I'm rooting for in the playoffs. I want to see them go far because, man, let's be real. I'm not a Big Ten. I'm cool with not seeing those guys win a national championship, but I definitely wouldn't mind seeing Indiana, go all the way with it.
Exactly. Same here, Troy. I would love to see that. Even though, of course, Indiana's not my preferred team,
Yeah,
seeing a team that is not one of your typical, power teams like Ohio State or LSU or Alabama, to see them go far, it would be great for the sport and just great for the fans, right?
yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. Fernando Mendoza. There we go.
Hey,
Troy,
I get those names mixed up all the time. So
you know what was another surprising game? Well, I don't know if it was surprising to you, Troy. Oregon, Iowa. That
yeah,
was a close one, Troy. Iowa gave Oregon a game,
yeah,
and
they did.
Oregon squeaked it out. I mean, Iowa, they looked good in the fourth quarter. They were making a run, but Oregon was able to pull it out. Dante Moore didn't play well. I mean,
Yeah.
he threw a pick. I don't think he had a touchdown. So, I mean, who knows, Troy? I mean, teams that you think are really strong, they're vulnerable as well. I mean, I think it's going to be wide open in the playoff.
Man, I agree with you. Another game that we haven't mentioned yet, Wake Forest and Virginia. That was a pretty good matchup. Wake Forest ended up pulling that out 19 or 16-9. So Virginia was going in there ranked pretty high. Once again, a team that was supposed to make the playoffs that could possibly win out. Looking at their schedule now, I mean, they got Duke and Virginia Tech. So they could have easily won out and made the ACC championship, but now I mean they're going to be out of it. We'll see, man. The playoffs, it's going to be crazy. It's going to actually be a fun selection this year, just because you got teams like if Vanderbilt wins out, I mean, do they make it? Do they not? It's all going to depend on what happens throughout the rest of the season. But man, teams like OU, they still got to play LSU,
Yeah.
which with LSU's offense the way it is right now, I mean, they could probably win that game. But they play Bama this week in Tuscaloosa, so
Ooh, that's a hard place to win.
that's gonna be a tough one, man. I'm actually
Yeah.
excited about that matchup, so we'll see what happens there. All I'm saying is there's still a lot of football to be played, especially in the SEC. I think like right now, looking at the college football playoff top 25, I mean, you got A&M at 3, Bama at 4, Georgia at 5, Ole Miss at 7, Texas at 10, OU at 11, and Vanderbilt at 14. Man, that's insane.
Troy, and you know what I'm tired of hearing? Out there, America, and whoever else has been saying this nonsense, I do not want to hear that the Big Ten is the best conference in FBS. Heck no, Troy. When you see how tight the SEC is, SEC football still reigns supreme.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing it. I heard that on one of the sports shows the other day. They were like, the Big Ten, they're the best conference. Absolutely not. I mean, what do they? They have Ohio State, great. Okay, they have Oregon, cool. Indiana's having a good year, but outside of that, you wanna match up schools from the SEC with the Big Ten? I'll take the SEC every time.
Oh yeah. And like I said, man, obviously when the playoffs roll around, they do have a advantage if they do play, at their home field just because colder weather. SEC
True.
teams aren't necessarily used to that. But other than that, man, talent wise, yeah, I'm still an SEC guy. So I
Same.
have yet to see otherwise that, the Big Ten is even comparable, if I'm being honest. So
It's not
I know they always
comparable.
like to throw Penn State out there. They always like to do, I mean, but man, like
Laughable, Troy. Laughable.
they fired their head coach for a reason, right? So
Yeah.
but no, man, I'm impressed where I mean, and not even to mention like you still got teams like, Tennessee hanging around and so on. So it's been pretty competitive, man. I'm excited to see what, how everything plays out and go from there. But how about UNM, man. Jason Eck got them. He has them bowl eligible. Now the projection is that they're going to go to the New Mexico Bowl. Big shocker, right? I
Yeah,
think that
in
is
their
the
backyard.
man. That is, I don't know. Maybe if there's a UNM football player out there watching this, man, how do you guys feel about playing a bowl game in your basically it's your home field? Now I feel like that could be a good thing. It could be, but I don't know. I think the bowl games are for the experience, right? So you want to go somewhere like a Las Vegas Bowl or something, somewhere cool, enjoy the festivities. Now, I do think the New Mexico Bowl is a fun game. I just think that like it's not fun for the home school to, to play in that bowl. But I've been at a couple New Mexico Bowls and they've all been pretty fun. I just think I would like to see the players maybe get a better experience.
I I mean, travel's always good for the players, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to play in a new place, a different stadium, have your fans travel, right? But I get it too. I understand it.
Yeah.
Speaking of UNM, Troy, so with Jason Eck, how much longer does he stay at UNM before one of the bigger schools offers them a job?
Man, as you could tell, like we kind of talked a little bit about the coaching carousel last week, and there's a lot of vacancies. And so, what people don't realize too, when they see those vacancies, what they don't realize is like some of those schools are going to go after coaches from these other colleges, right? And that's going to
Mhm.
open up even more vacancies. So then you're going to see that double sometimes. And then you're going to see offensive coordinators go, you're going to see defensive coordinators go. It's just sometimes it could be a mess. That's why they call it the carousel, right? Because you just
Yeah.
the names coming off the board and going here. They want to bring their own friends, people that they work with very well. They want to, steal them away from whatever program they're at. So, after they play, the Cupid Shuffle a little bit, we'll see. But, but yeah, it's I think I can see him. I would like Oklahoma State to give Jason Eck a look. In all honesty,
That's a good program
I
too.
think that would be a good match for him. And he's already said that the Pac-12. Don't get me started on this. Okay, I'm gonna get started on it. I don't think, dude. He already said that the Pac-12, the new Pac-12, isn't gonna excite him. He's not looking for something in the Pac-12, which I could see like a Colorado State flirting with the idea of getting Jason Eck there. But as far as that goes, man, beautiful facilities and stuff out there. I just once again, you're going to be in the Pac-12. Man, I don't know. I'm not a huge Pac-12 fan. I think that's just another. They basically just divided the Mountain West. It's basically just another Mountain West conference,
Yeah.
and it's not impressive. I would have been more impressed probably if Oregon State and Washington State just went ahead and aligned with the Mountain West and just, or joined their conference. I think it would have been made the Mountain West a little bit more sufficient. But man, I could see him hopefully going to Oklahoma State or something. I think that would be a good fit for him, culture wise. They're going to give him everything that he needs to build a program, and he's always done more with less. I mean, look at his record with Idaho. He was there for 3 seasons. They went to the playoffs all 3 years. And for you guys that don't have an idea of like what Idaho has done in the football world prior to Jason Eck, not much. So they've had a rough record. They were at the FBS level at one point. They decided to drop down back to the FCS level, and even they kept Bobby Petrino around, and they still they weren't having much success. Jason Eck completely turned them around, and they did a phenomenal job down there. So Jason Eck is a winner to go to a bowl your first year at University of New Mexico. That's impressive.
It is. It's very impressive, Troy. Yeah, we'll have to look out and see, if he gets some buzz, right?
Yeah.
Switching gears a bit, Troy. Let's talk about our favorite school, our alma mater. Those dang old Aggies, man.
Oh,
Troy, it's like they can't keep doing this to us, man. These close games, and then they let us down.
man, I can't keep fighting people on X. So I keep getting in too many arguments. My blood pressure's getting too high. Man, once again, Chris, I know I've been saying this all year, but I really do, before I start diving into like what happened during the game, I really believe the Aggies are a better team than what their record shows. They're 3-6 right now. They're probably going to be 3-7 by the end of this week. They got to go to Tennessee. But man, I will say that their defense has balled out all year, and they have made some big plays. They have shut down a lot of plays in the red zone. They've got off the field when they're supposed to. They have put their team in position to win. Now, it's been very one-sided. Defense has done its job. Offense has not done its job. They are taking too long to get going.
Yeah.
Tony Sanchez kind of said, he said something that kind of stuck out to me. He was like, "Man, we could score in quick spurts, and we've showed that, and it's true. But they need to start doing that, like the first series, of the game. So, and I don't think we've seen that probably since like Missouri State. Man, that Western Kentucky game was ugly to watch.
Mm.
The offense just was not in sync. And then, Kennesaw State, I mean, they got off to like a horrendous start. They were already down 17-0. The defense gave up two big drives that led to touchdowns, and that kind of set them up. But I will say that, I mean, besides that one quarter, the defense shut Kennesaw State down. Kennesaw State has a ton of speed. That Odom kid, I mean, that kid has been breaking off long runs the entire season. So they're 7-2. They're leading the conference. This is their second year being FBS. I did not see that one coming at all. I figured that this was going to be a winnable game. I thought Missouri State would be a winnable game, which they were, but it's a killer. And Chris, obviously I'm not a math major or anything, but man, 13 points away. We're literally 13 points away from having a 6-win season right now, and
And
that's a killer.
that's
So
that's what's frustrating, Troy, is again, you know, a couple plays here and there, a couple stops here and there, Troy. We're looking at, 5 or close to 6 wins.
yeah,
And that's what's devastating about it is people are going to look at the record and they're going to be like, oh, New Mexico State's not good. That's
yeah,
not the whole picture. Again, we've talked about this, Troy. We have a really good foundation with the football team. They do some really good things. They show a lot of grit, but it's just the little nuances, right? The little plays
yeah.
here and there that have killed us this year.
Man, I think they need to obviously find some more offensive linemen, find a couple more bigger offensive linemen, some more athletic ones, and just to add some more depth to that position, add some more competition to that position. They need to improve there next year. They didn't block well up front this year. It kind of hurt the run game a little bit. And man, and once again, like this isn't me bashing any of the kids or anything like that. Like, man, I mean, those guys are doing a fantastic job. They're doing more than what I'm doing, right? I'm at a freaking chair right now, talking to them. But, just basically basic observations, man. They just need to improve. Hopefully a lot of them, the younger ones will stick around and just develop. I think that's all it is developmental thing. And we talked about this too earlier in our show that, people aren't sticking around long enough to develop. Hopefully that changes a little bit. You sign a couple big names, that'll help that a little bit, build some more team chemistry there. And man, if you have a solid offensive line, the run game's going to come together. Um, the short passing game is going to be there. You're going to give, your quarterback more time to make plays and not run for his life in the pocket. Um, which once again, man, Feist. I mean, I'm not saying he's perfect at all, but that dude could, he could drop some dimes and
You
he could
can.
fit in. I mean, he could throw in some tight windows. Sometimes it bites him in the butt, but man, he's a dude. He's athletic. I know it's frustrating when he throws a pick at the wrong time. So, man, the way I had called a, I thought it was, basically said it was going to be a 27-24 game in MSU. That last second to last drive that they were in, man, they were driving down the field. I was like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Sure enough,
I
it did
saw
not
five
happen, Troy.
man, I saw five throw a pick. I freaking launched my phone in the air. I was at a birthday party and man, I almost freaking lost it. I turned it off and then I saw that they had another chance and they fell short. I guess they kicked a field goal and missed it. And dude, that one hurts. And and it sucks because I don't think it's a coaching thing, Chris. I really think the coaches I haven't even been mad at the play calling this year. I know people are talking, crap about the offensive coordinator doing this and that, but man, I wasn't even upset at the play calling.
Me
It's just
either.
lack of execution, dude. I mean, if
And
you have people in your backfield, I don't care who do you have in the backfield? Like, I mean, you can have Tom Brady. If he's running for his life the entire time, um, you're not going to get anywhere. So,
I
um, I do think that they have some solid coaches. I do think that they have the pieces there. They just need to add a couple more, and they'll be good to go.
I agree, Troy, and I think the key word here is inconsistency.
Yes.
Once New Mexico State becomes more consistent, they're going to be a really good team, Troy. And
Yeah.
I know, again, there's people out there, I know, same old New Mexico State. No. Again, for lack of a better word, this team has really good bones.
Yeah.
So they just need to get more consistent. Maybe you bring in some transfers to boost up the offensive line. And I think we're going to see a different team next season.
Man, I do too. And I still think, I mean, dude, we still got UTEP on the schedule. That'll be a fun game to watch. It's going to be in El Paso, so they're going to need Aggie fans down there. And plus, we're not going to play UTEP anytime soon since they're going to the Mountain West. So
Exactly.
that's a huge win. That's going to be a big game.
It is.
So take advantage of it. Go to that game, check it out. One thing that I can't stand, and I was kind of going back and forth with a lot of Aggie fans on X, is they bring up Tony Sanchez's record from like UNLV and stuff. Once again, people just look at the number, right? But they have no understanding of, man, it is hard to win at UNLV.
It
No
is.
one that's really done it in the past. I know that they're relevant now, but man, you think Dan Mullen would have went there back in 2007? Probably not. They had nothing to recruit on. They had no facilities. They had no support from the faculty, from the staff. They didn't have a bunch of money.
No.
So practice facilities were garbage. Now all that stuff is in place. They've invested into the program. They're playing at the Raider Stadium, which is an indoor environment, which
Yeah,
is big.
state of the art facility, right?
So, I mean, man, like everything's in place for them now. They got rid of run and rep, but other than that, everything else is in place. So, and Tony Sanchez was there when all that stuff was barely in the works. So, I think he's a good coach. I think man, I've seen a couple practices or a practice, and I've seen how he, rallies around his team. He's a solid dude, and there's no one out there, Chris, that is gonna be like you could fire him tomorrow, and you're not gonna be able to find a coach willing to come to New Mexico State and that's gonna turn them around and give them a 7-win season, their first year. It's just not gonna happen. New
Well,
Mexico, New
let,
Mexico
let
State is one of those teams that you have to wait a couple years and let them build a team.
so Troy, I shouldn't call Brian Kelly tomorrow.
No, that is getting paid $50 million from LSU. If he gets through all that drama. So Chris, I will say this as an LSU fan, something I think is kind of crappy of them. I guess now they're trying to like go back and forth with him on like his whole payout thing. I guess they were trying to give him a settlement of a less amount or something like that. And Kelly's like, no, I want it in full. And they're trying to back out of that. It's like, dude, look, you guys broke a contract. You guys fired him. You guys didn't honor his contract. Pay the man.
In other words, Troy, LSU made their bed, they have to lay in it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get being pissed off about having to, pay that, but
You
it
gotta
is what
pay
it
it,
is.
right?
All right, Chris. So switching gears, I know we had to pause the video so you can get your meatloaf out of the oven, but switching gears, man, I found something. I was actually on X over the weekend, and I saw a funny little story. Kind of like there's some drama going on between these two Division II schools. So you have Kentucky State and Delta State University. Both teams are in a position to they're basically on the border of making the playoffs. Delta State has a rich history of going to the national championships at the D2 level and doing a lot of stuff. Well, Kentucky State is having I guess one of the best years in school history. And man, I guess they were scheduled to play each other this upcoming Saturday, right? However, Kentucky State has canceled that game because right now I believe they're projected to go make the playoffs, right? They completely canceled that game and they are playing a university that doesn't have as good of a record as Delta State. As a matter of fact, they're not very good right now. They're sitting at like 2-10 or 2-8. So shorter university, that's the name of the school.
Hmm.
So to me, what it sounds like, I know Delta State's coach had a big old press conference about it. Look it up. You guys can find it on YouTube. And man, it is kind of funny because it sounds like Kentucky State, they are completely backing out of this game because they want to make the playoffs. They want to make sure that this season is capped off, like a Cinderella story, and they're completely screwing over Delta State because Delta State can't find another opponent right now. And I believe if they don't find another opponent and play, they're not going to be able to make the playoffs. So I think the NCAA should step in and completely stop this from happening, in my opinion, or disqualify Kentucky State from being in the playoffs. Man, I don't like that move. I think that's a pretty um, I don't know. That's pretty low, in my opinion. I say forget Kentucky State, let Delta State go in the playoffs. Heck, at this point, even bring in Northeastern State, Oklahoma, let them play in the playoffs. So
No, Troy, I agree, especially in the sport of football. I don't know, Troy. I hate things like that because how are you going to be a punk? It's like, look, I get it. Kentucky State's having one of their best years, but you have to win. You have to play the games.
yeah,
That is terrible. I understand you want to make the playoffs. Maybe it'll bring some money to the program, but it doesn't matter who you play. You compete. That's the key. What type of message as a coach or as an AD are you sending your players when you do stuff like that? You're basically telling them, we're not confident enough in you guys that you could compete against Delta State. That's horrible. Yes, the NCAA needs to step in and they need to have swift action
yeah,
because no, I hate to say it, Troy, but this is essentially what Delta State's getting screwed over.
yeah, yeah,
And I wanted to say something else, but we need to be family friendly. So, but yeah, no, they're getting cheated out of their opportunity. That's not okay at all.
yeah. No, definitely, man. So it's pretty wild. I kind of just stumbled upon that story and I was like, dude, that is insane. I'm familiar with both schools, and Delta
Yeah.
State, they were kind of one of those first schools that I was like following up with at the D2 level just because, they had a pretty rich history of making that championship game. I think the last couple of years they've been down. So this would be a big deal for them to be able to make the playoffs as well. So I can see why and it's hard to make the Division 2 playoffs in all honesty. So I could see why coaches, players would be upset. At the Division 2 level, they don't have bowl games like at the D1 single A level. But yeah, it's pretty wild. And then also on a brighter note too, Chris, Sam Houston State got their first win against Oregon State.
Ooh, ooh.
I told you Sam Houston State was going to get a couple wins this year. But yeah, man,
Troy, correct me if I'm wrong. Are Delta State and Kentucky State rivals?
I believe so.
So not only are you canceling the game, you're not going to go against your rival? Oh my goodness, Troy. That's horrible.
Are you seeing that right now that they're rivals?
Some news outlets are classifying it as a rivalry, but I didn't know, Troy, if you know for sure if they were rivals or not.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, Troy. Delta State, right? That's in Mississippi. Yeah, see, so that's not too far from Kentucky. But I don't know. I don't like that at all. And there needs to be some swift action. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah,
Um,
no, so
exactly. Moving to FCS action, Troy. Man, North Dakota played North Dakota State pretty close. I know we had discussed it, Troy, during our preview show last time that North Dakota State, they might steamroll North Dakota because North Dakota State's undefeated. They're a perennial title contender, very notable. But hey, North Dakota, they played them tough.
yeah, man. I was pretty shocked to see the score, but yeah, it was a 15-10 game. And hard fought. I always like to see North Dakota do good just because they're like the little brother, right?
Yeah.
North Dakota State has pretty much ran the state for quite some time, probably since I've been in high school. I remember seeing them all over ESPN, but they've been pretty much running the state ever since. So yeah, I always like to pull for North Dakota when I get a chance, man. It's cool to see them, keep up with them. But I still think They're sitting at a 6-4 overall record. We'll see what happens. I always like seeing the playoff selection show for the FCS teams, just because it's I always see some teams slip in there that I didn't think would make it. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes on that too.
Exactly, Troy. Hey, Troy, speaking of FCS or D2 football, I know you have a really, really cool story between are they two D2 schools, Troy?
Oh man, yeah.
Yes.
So two D2 schools. So it is against Henderson State
Mm.
and Ouachita Baptist University. Both of these schools have been going back and forth on Twitter or X, and basically they're trying to get College Game Day to go to their rivalry game, which, okay, cool. What school isn't going to do that, right? Which school wouldn't want College Game Day to show up on campus and have an episode there? They're Division II, I get it. But what's kind of cool about this, and they are actually in the same city, but not only are they in the same city, they're literally across the street from each other. And I didn't even know this. I knew about both programs, but they are literally across the street from each other. So as you can see, both stadiums are probably, not even a mile apart. So typically what happens is when they play this game, the opposite team they don't even have to load up in a bus or anything like that. They will literally walk across each other's campuses to the stadium just because that's how close this game is. So I know Ouachita Baptist, they won the game last year. I think they've won the last couple series, but it'll be a good one. I think Henderson State has a pretty solid record this year, and they're a pretty tough opponent, and same with Ouachita Baptist. So we're going to keep our eyes on this one. They're playing this Saturday, so be sure to tune in that game. That should be a fun one. College Game Day might not be there. As a matter of fact, I know they're not going to be there, but check it out anyway. So it'll be a cool one to follow up with.
Hey, Troy, are you going to get down to Arkadelphia one of these days and go to Carpenter Haywood Stadium or Cliff Harris?
Chris, that's one of those games that we might have to, go to. I already told you we need to go to a game at Pitt State. We need to make our trips down to Colorado. We need to, that we might just have to add this one to our list. So I already told Aiden too that we might be going down to South Dakota next year and checking out a game for his senior year.
Hey, that would be awesome, Troy, getting to do that. So
Are you? Yeah. And speaking of Aiden, actually, they first of all, they should be ranked by now in the NAIA rankings. So I know they're receiving votes. They're like one vote away from actually being ranked, I believe. But man, they had another big win over the weekend against Rocky Mountain Rocky Mountain University in Montana. So they won that game 38-7. They have Montana State University Northern this weekend. That'll be the final game of the season. So we'll see what happens in the NAIA playoffs. Hopefully they get selected and they get a shot. I think that'd be a cool little experience for him. So man, shout out to Aiden. I know they posted a cool little picture on the website. It's cool to kind of see him thrive up there. And, like I said, hopefully me and Chris could, get going and actually make a game down there.
I'm telling you, I'm speaking it into existence, Troy. Hey, rather than College Game Day, we're going to have those guys game day coming up.
Yeah, man, it'll be better. So
it will be better, huh?
To hang out with us.
Yeah. We're definitely cooler than Kirk Herbstreit, and who else is on that show? Is it still Desmond Howard?
Yep, Nick Saban, all those guys, man.
Oh, Nick Saban. And then, of course, Pat McAfee, right?
Yep.
See?
So, who wants to hang out with them when you can hang out with us, right?
Exactly. There you go. Well, all right, Troy. Well, I think that's it. Stay tuned for our prediction show coming up. And, make sure you watch a lot of college football coming up this week. Take care, everybody. And happy Veterans Day to all the amazing veterans out there that have sacrificed and laid their lives on the line to keep us safe and to keep this country thriving. Thank you.
Absolutely. Happy Veterans Day, guys.
All right. Take care.